it's me again. This time I'm going to give you a session which includes a good stretching routine. So this is a much longer routine than we did the last time, and it's going to help you to loosen everything off, improve the flexibility of your muscles and joints, whole body, the best, my favourite stretches. For this you're going to need a spiky ball. If you want to see that used in detail, you can have a look at my session on stretching and mobilising your feet. And you'll also need a strap of some type, so a piece of TheraBand, a stretchy band, or you can use a yoga strap, something like this, and put a loop in the end of it. Or you can have a scarf or a belt or something. Well, this is a really posh TheraBand stretching strap with loops in it, so up to you. So one or other of these. But I mean, a scarf will do, you don't have to have anything posh. So we're going to start off by spiky balling our feet. So this is something that I like to do with everybody. At the beginning of most of my classes, you have a spiky ball and you're going to loosen off your feet. So what you're going to start off with is having that nice spiky ball under the heel, and put the ball of your foot on the floor, and you're just going to step forwards and backwards. Okay, if you're a bit sensitive, you can keep socks on, but for quickness, you can do it with your socks off. So you're just going to step forwards and backwards, taking the weight into the heel and stretching out the muscles around the heel and mobilising the tissues that come through your calf, through your Achilles up into the back of your leg. Then you're going to put it underneath the ball of your foot, put the heel on the ground. So my heel's down on the ground, it's going to stay there as I step forwards and backwards. So my knee is going forwards over my foot and I'm stepping forwards and backwards. If you don't want to do that, you can just lunge and take your knee forwards over your toes, keeping your heel down on the ground, and feel that stretch. Hold it there, stretching the back of the calf there, and do that again. If you want to, you can step as well, forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Then put it in your instep, and you're going to do the same again, forwards and backwards. So you're stretching out the muscles in your sole of your foot in the instep. These muscles, sometimes you get trigger points in them that can be very sore, and if they get tight they can give you plantar fasciitis. So this is a great preventative thing, especially if you're going to do a lot of running. If you're a marathon runner, ultra marathon runner, Ironman or lady, and you are going to loosen off everything before you start. So this is a routine, probably take you up to 30 minutes or so to really stretch you out. If you've got plenty of time in the evening, try and do this at least once a week, and pick and choose the stretches that you like or you think you need to work on most as well. Okay, so other side, heel first and step forwards and back. So everybody should have a spiky ball. This is quite a firm one. This one's an APPI one. But you can get lots of different ones. Forget your tumble dry balls, they're a waste of time, they'll just collapse when you do this. If you haven't got anything at all, nick a ball from the dog, get a tennis ball, something like that. Don't use a golf ball, it'll be too painful. We're going to talk about pain a bit more when we're doing the foam rolling session. So you're going to put the ball in your instep now and step forwards and backwards. It doesn't really matter what order you do these in. I would start with it under your heel to start with, and then probably under the ball of your foot, and then this one. So you're doing the three, loosening off those feet. Prepare your feet and you prepare your body for stretching and moving. And one more lunge, knee over toes, that's a nice one to finish with, and stepping forwards and backwards. Okay, so after you've done this, we're going to stretch our hamstrings one more time, and then we're going to come down onto the floor. Okay, so we've finished with the spiky ball. You can go to the side there, ta-ta. Oops. And we're going to just stretch our hamstrings a little bit. Hands on the hips, stick your bottom out and hinge at the hips. And then come back up from the side. You tip and you come back up. So those hamstrings are lengthening as you go down. And come up. Now we're going to do a roll down, so you're loosening your spine as well. So this time you're going to bend your back, drop your head, let your hands come down the front of your legs, and you're going all the way down to your feet. And then you're going to come up and curl your spine, keep your hands on your legs, reach up and fingers together and bend back. And do that again, drop your hands down and roll down. And put your hands down on the floor if you can. Really stretch those hamstrings out, and then uncurl and stretch back. And then this time we're going to stay down there and bend and straighten our knees. So hang down, hands on the floor if you can, or else hold your ankles and just bend your knees and straighten your knees. Bend your knees, straighten your knees, bend your knees, straighten your knees. One more, bend your knees, straighten your knees. Now you're going to come up slowly, stretch up. And then we're going to do the same thing with our legs crossed over. So cross your right leg in front of your left, and you've got a gap between your feet so you don't end up on the floor, and you're going to roll down, put your hands on the ground so you get a bit more stretch on the sides of your legs then, your ITBs a little bit, and then you're going to uncurl, and then do that again, roll down, hands on the floor, or ankles if you can't manage the floor, uncurl. So your knees are as straight as you can keep them. One more. So obviously this is a dynamic stretch. And then you're going to swap your legs over. So cross the other leg over in front. And the same thing, roll down. Touch the floor. And come up. So try and keep those knees straight. Remember there's a bit of a gap between your feet. I'll show you they go down. And come up. Up to all in between, roll down. And come up. So you should be feeling those ITBs starting to have a bit of a stretch with that. Uncurl your feet. Now you're going to come down onto all fours. So we're going to roll down again. So we get another stretch. Go stretch those hamstrings one more time as you go down. And then put your hands down on the floor. Okay, so this time we're just going to do a couple of cat stretches. So everyone can do this one. Tuck your tail under, look at your legs. Arch your back and stick your bottom out. So you're stretching your back. Tuck under, blow. Really pull your tummy in here. Arch your back, stick your bottom out. One more, tuck under. And lift. And then come to flat back. Now you're going to thread the needle. So take your arm underneath and stretch. And come back up. So these are moving stretches, obviously dynamic stretches. And this is loosening off your back. Stretch through and blow. Everyone gets a sore back, especially if you're a runner or a cyclist. And stretch. But if you can keep flexible and strong, it's going to help stop any injuries or any pain happening. So keep as flexible as you can. Okay, so you've done your thread the needles. That's a really nice one for you to practice. Now we're going to do child's pose. This is one of my favourites. Knees apart, big gap between your knees, feet together. Take your bottom back and stretch out. Head on the floor. Bring those arms as close to your ears as you can and put your head down. And take a deep breath in and out. Now take both hands across to the left side. Put your head back on the floor and breathe in and out. Again. Now bring your hands to the centre and then both hands to the right side now. Head back on the ground and breathe in and out. Again. Deep breath. And come back to the centre. If you feel cracking and crunching in your back, don't worry about it, it's just stiff joints moving. Okay, so now you're going to come up a little bit and you're going to bring your knees closer together, almost together, arms by your sides and put your head on the floor. Shell stretch. Stay here and breathe. Deep breath in and out. And blow. So you get a nice stretch in your lower back. Deep breath in. And blow. Deep breath in. And blow. So obviously if your back's feeling a bit stiff, you can do these exercises a bit more often or for a bit longer. Okay, so now we're going to come back up again. And I'm going to go onto my back now. Okay, so we're going to come back. I'll come onto my back. I will move around a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Start off by hugging your knees into your chest. So just lie on your back with your legs bent. And just hug one leg into your chest. And then put it down. And then the other one, pull it into your chest. and put it down, and then we're going to do 2 together. So bring this one in, and pull, hold it. And then from here we're going to go into a hamstring stretch. So stretch your leg up to the ceiling. If you are not very bendy and you want to use a band, you can put your band around your foot. TheraBand is easier, or if you've got one of these posh things here, you can put it around your foot and pull on it. It's stretchy, elasticy, and they're fantastic, but they're not cheap. So, you know, anything will do really. So you're going to put your foot down on the ground and you're going to pull this leg in. Okay, now obviously I'm quite bendy. Pull your toes back and push your heel up towards the ceiling, and you're getting really straight through the back of the knee. Really important that you're straight in the back of the knee, otherwise it's a bit of a waste of time. Okay, this is a waste of time. You've got to get your knee straight. Straight knee, bent hip, otherwise you're not going to be stretching your hamstrings. Heel to the ceiling and you're getting a calf stretch. You need all of those to be stretching at the same time. So you can do this if you want to show off, but you know, it's more important to focus on this leg and this hamstring. If you can't keep the knee straight, as I said before, take it away from you. Everybody should achieve 90 degrees at the hip. If not, there's something seriously wrong and you need to practice loads. Cyclists are pretty terrible at this, so you really need to do it a lot. Sorry about it, folks. Okay, so from here we're going to take the leg out to the side to stretch the inner thigh and inner hamstring. I'm going to turn around in a minute so you can see. So my elbow is on the ground, you can see that, bent at 90 degrees, and I'm pulling on this strap to give my leg a bit of support, and I'm giving that inner thigh and inner hamstring a really good stretch. The other leg is just staying where it is. I'm lying on my back, my shoulders are on the ground and my pelvis is flat on the floor. Don't let yourself roll onto your side. You are not trying to get your foot on the floor. You need to feel a stretch in that inner thigh, inner hamstring. And this, you need to relax into every stretch and breathe. If you can relax and breathe and go all floppy, you're going to achieve a better stretch. Okay, now I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what this looks like and see how far I'm going. So I'm going to turn around this way. So hamstring stretch and then leg out to the side. So I'm pulling on this strap here, my elbow's bent, and I'm getting a good stretch. So you can see me there, yeah. That's great. So you're getting a good stretch in my inner thigh and inner hamstring. My pelvis is on the floor, my shoulders on the floor, and I'm relaxing into that stretch. Okay, so now we're going to do the outer hamstring and the ITB. So for that one, you bring your leg up, you swap your hands with your strap, and then take your leg the other way. You're keeping your knees straight, you're keeping your ankle bent, and you're stretching down the side here. Now again, you're not trying to roll over onto your side. You'll hurt your back if you do that. You stay flat on your back with your shoulders down, and you're stretching down the side of your leg. So down the side of your leg, your outer hamstring and your ITB, and into around your hip here. Okay, so after you've held this stretch for about a minute or so, you're going to stretch your glute a bit more. So you're going to bend your knee and continue to pull your leg that way. So I'm straightening my arm, and I'm going to put this hand on the side of my knee, so you're getting a good stretch around your hip. Now it's going to feel tight, it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable. Those big glutes take a while to loosen off. Once they've loosened off, you'll start to feel a stabbing sensation deep in your bum, and that's your deep piriformis muscle and the other muscles of that little group stretching. So this is really important, especially if you've got any leg pain, because that muscle supports the back of the hip and it can squash your sciatic nerve if it's tight. So very important that you stretch that out. Okay, so your hand is on your knee is aiming for your shoulder, and you're holding it there. Okay, so we're going to hug the knees into the chest and do the same on the other side. So put your loop around your other foot, if you're using a loop of course. Put your right leg on the floor and straighten your left leg up to the ceiling, and then pull it in, making sure that that knee is absolutely straight, your ankle is bent, and you're pushing your heel up to the ceiling and pulling. So you should feel a really good stretch down the back of the leg and into the calf, and you're going to hold that and relax into the stretch and breathe. Remember, the more relaxed you can get when you're stretching, the more effective the stretch will be. So after you've held that for about a minute, take the band in your left hand, take your leg out to the side, elbow on the ground, and hold it there. So remember, your back is on the floor, your leg is out to the side, and you're pulling on the strap to give it some support. Don't let it drop down to the ground even if you can. So you're stretching inner thigh and inner hamstring, and you're holding and relaxing into that stretch, and just breathe. Okay, so after you've held that for a minute, you're going to lift your leg up to the ceiling, swap hands, hold the band with your other hand or your scarf or whatever you've got, take it across and straight knee, stretch down the side of that leg, remember. So ITB and outer hamstring is getting a stretch here. Hold that stretch, keep your ankle bent to keep your calf stretching. If you want to stretch your shin, you can point your toe and pull your foot in. So you're turning in. So you should feel a calf stretch. Sorry, a shin stretch there. Okay, so you just hold it. Okay, now you're going to do a glute stretch. So all you're going to do is bend your knee, straighten your arm, and put your left hand on the side of your knee and pull. So your knee is aiming for your shoulder. Do not let yourself roll onto your right side. Stay on your back or you're going to hurt your back. So you're going to take your knee across towards that right shoulder and hold the stretch. Okay, so you're going to hug your knee, bring your leg in, take your strap off and hug your knees into your chest. Okay, so now we're going to stretch the front of the hip. Everybody forgets to stretch the front of the hip. So I'm going to roll onto my side so I don't hurt my back. And I'm going to stretch the front of my hip. Now, it's much more effective to do it on your back. You can do it flat on the floor. And if you want, you can put something under your bum to lift you up a bit more. So a cushion of some description, yoga block, foam roller, anything you like. I like to use a foam roller, but you need to work up to that. So I'm not going to push that one in this session. I'll do that in my foam roller session. So I don't need my strap anymore. Chuck him over there. And I'm going to lie down on my back. And we're going to do a psoas release. So the psoas muscle attaches to your spine. And it goes the whole of your lumbar spine and up into the back of your rib cage, so it attaches to your thoracic spine as well. So you need to stretch everything out. So we're going to hug both knees into a chest, and then the leg I'm going to stretch is my right leg. So I'm going to hug my left, stretch my right leg up to the ceiling and lower it down really, really slowly. So pull your tummy in and you're going to lower it down for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put the foot down on the ground and stretch it away from you as much as you possibly can. You're keeping this left leg hugged into your chest, and you should feel a stretch down the front of this hip here. Now you're going to just bend your leg and slide it in along the mat. You don't want to tension that tendon. It's really easy to irritate this tendon, so I want you to be very careful what you do. Stretching up. If you irritate your psoas tendon, it's very difficult to settle it down. It can take months. So slowly down, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put it down on the ground and then stretch it away from you so you get a bit of a stretch through the front there. And then come back in. So you probably need to do about 3 of these. Now, if you're not feeling much of a stretch, you can put something under your bum. And I'm going to put my foam roller onto my bum. Okay, this is the best foam roller. Okay, so I'm going to lie on it. So I'm hugging my knee into my chest, stretch your leg up to the ceiling and lower down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Foot on the floor. You might have to have your knee a little bit bent to start with. Stretch your leg away. You should feel a much stronger stretch to the front of that hip. And then again, slide the foot in. Don't lift the straight leg up again. And then bring it in. Same thing up in the air. And again, lower down slowly. So I'm hugging my left leg into my chest and I'm lowering this leg down really slowly. That's about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put your foot down on the ground. Stretch it away from you. And bring your leg in. And then do the same on the other side. Leg up in the air and lower it down slowly. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This side hasn't warmed up, so it's going to be tighter. And then slide your leg in and come up to the ceiling again. Lower down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And stretch away. I wouldn't go straight onto the foam roller. I would stretch it out on the floor first, and then if you want to, go onto the foam roller afterwards. Lowering down again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put it down on the ground and slide back in again. I'm going to get rid of my foam roller and go back to that other one. Go over there out of the way. So we're going to go up in the air and then lowering down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Foot on the floor, stretch it away. And then slide it in and hug your knees into your chest. Now we're going to stretch out the front of the leg and the groin a bit. So all you're going to do is just take the knee out to the side and bring it back in again. So get rid of this one. Out to the side and bring it back in again. Out to the side and back in, and again out to the side. So be a bit careful with this if you do have a groin strain. Now put your right foot on top of your left knee and straighten your left leg, and then put your right knee down towards the ground so that you're staying on your back, your pelvis is planted on the floor, and you're opening up that groin area, front of your hip there. And you're going to stay like that for about a minute. So just breathe and relax into the stretch. Do a bit of meditation for a minute. Take some deep breaths. And then bring your leg up, and then do the same on the other side. Put your foot on your knee, open your knee out, and then straighten that leg down. And let your other knee, your left knee, drop down towards the floor. So you're opening up the front of that hip. So you get a nice stretch in both sides. Now when you've done both of those, you can then put your foot down on the ground, put your soles together, and then open both knees out wide to the side. So you're just going to use the muscles in your hips to try and press your soles of your feet together and push your knees down towards the floor. You're not going to force it down, you're going to let your muscles do the work. Okay, so you're just pushing your knees down and holding that stretch. And then release, and then just bring your legs back in together. Okay, hug your legs into your chest, and you're going to do a happy baby. So I'm going to turn around so that you can see it from the side, from the behind, so better movement. So hug your legs into your chest, and then hold your insteps, bend your knees, and big gap between your feet. Okay, so you get a great big gap between your heels, your knees are coming under your armpits, soles of your feet are parallel to the ceiling, and this will be giving you a really nice stretch all around those hips and also your pelvic floor. So this is a really nice stretch for everybody to do. Relax into it and just breathe. And then hug your legs into your chest one more time, and you're going to roll over onto your side. So I'll carry on from here so you can see. I'm just going to stretch my quads. So everyone's done this. Easy way to do it. Grab your foot and then just straighten your leg back. So you should just feel a stretch down the front of the thigh there. Okay, don't let your back arch. You're tucking your tail under and feeling a stretch to the front of the thigh. Your knee is completely bent here, so you're going to get a quad stretch even if your knee is forwards a bit. So just take it back until you can feel a stretch in the front of the thigh, but don't let your back arch. Okay, now you're going to come onto your tummy and do a wee stretch for your back. So I'm going to twirl around this way. And we're going to do a little cobra. So have your elbows slightly forwards of your shoulders, hands flat on the floor. Have your feet apart a little bit and your feet turned out so your insteps are on the ground. And then you're going to tuck your tail under, press into your hands and come up. Okay, your tail's tucked under. You're not trying to overarch your back. You'll just hurt your joints in your back. Shoulders down, tuck your tail under, press down. and calm up, lift your chest. You're tucking your tail under strongly, you're not trying to hyperextend in your lower back. And lower down again. And then of course you're going to stretch your quads on the other side. So I'm going to come back here, grab your shin and pull your leg back. You keep your arm up, you get a stretch and stretch there. So again, about a minute. Remember, you don't arch your back. Tuck your tail under and feel the stretch through your thigh. And put your leg down. Okay, we're coming back up again now. This isn't a yoga class. I'm not going to be doing pigeons and stuff. Don't need to. And the amount of people that injure themselves doing pigeons is not pleasant. So what we're going to do here, we're going to stretch our glute one more time in sitting. Have one leg straight, cross the foot over like this. Then put this hand on your knee. Bring this hand round behind you and twist around and try and look to the side or look behind you a little bit if you possibly can. So you're just twisting around this way. Again, just breathe into the stretch. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So straighten that leg, put this foot across the leg, grab your knee and twist around behind you. Look behind you and breathe. Relax into the stretch, but keep that chest lifted. So you should feel a nice stretch all around that hip. Looking behind. And then we're going to do a nice easy stretch for our hips. So bend your knees. This is a nice one for golfers. You want your feet apart and legs bent. Have your hands on the floor behind you. And all you're going to do is take both knees to one side. So my right hip is lifted, so on your side is your left. And then you're bringing both knees back where they came from and then take them to the other side. So you're trying to get both knees on the floor. Your shoulders are still facing forwards. Don't twist around to the side. Shoulders are forwards. Both knees are trying to touch the ground and then come back through and then take both knees the other way. And then come back through and over and through and over. So you can make it as slow as you like and then you can just hold the stretch. Hold it and feel the stretch all around the hips and then you can come back the other way and stretch and hold that. Obviously you need really nice stretchy bendy hips for your golf. Not especially for running, but you do need them to be nice and flexible. Okay, so we're going to come up now into kneeling and do a pretty popular hip flexor stretch. This is one that everyone does. Now, it's very easy to damage your hip flexors doing this one, so I'm not a massive fan of this one. Step forwards and then lean forward a little bit and just tuck your tail under and you should feel a good stretch with the front of the hip. I am pretty bendy, so I could go right down here if I really wanted to, and I could come right down here and get a really good stretch if I really wanted to. But I'd be highly likely to damage the front of my hip and overstretch and damage the tendon in my psoas muscle. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to tuck my tail under and lift this arm up and then bend over and away from it a little bit. So I'm getting a stretch down my side as well as down the front here. So that's a much more useful stretch and you're not going to cause pain and injury in the front of that hip. As I said before, those tendons are very easy to damage and not very easy to settle down. Other side. So you're coming forwards a little bit, you're tucking your tail under, so you've got a stretch. You can feel a stretch through the here and through the front of the hip. And you're just tucking under, and then you can lift your arm up and bend over and away from you. So you're getting a stretch down your side and the front at the same time. So all around the front edge of your hip there. And then stretch your arm up and come back. Now for your feet, little routine I do in my classes a lot. Feet and toes get stiff and then that affects your balance. So just tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels. And then come into a crouch. So push back into a crouch. And then drop your knees down again. And then put your feet flat and sit on them. Take your hands back behind you and lift your hips. And lower down. And take your hands forwards, tuck your toes under, sit back on your heels and stretch. And come back forwards, feet flat, hands back, lift your bum. And then do that again. So of course you can do this as many times as you want. If you just want to focus on your feet, refer to my foot stretching one. And if you want to stretch everything, do this one, just a little bit of each, but just choose your favourite stretches, the ones you really need to work on. And do that one more time. Tuck your tail under, come into a crouch. And release. Now if you really need to stretch those calves, those deep calf muscles, this is my favourite stretch. You want your toe more or less in line with your other knee. You grab your knee and you lean forwards. So the heel here is on the ground. You get a good ankle stretch there into a bend and you lean forwards on it. So that's giving you a really good stretch in those deep calf muscles. So if you've got problems with plantar fasciitis, Achilles problems, then this is a really important one for you to work on. Just hold it. If you've got a stiff ankle, you can bounce, but if you're trying to stretch the muscles, you hold the stretch still. You do not bounce if you're trying to stretch muscles. And then come back and do the same on the other side. So bring the other foot forwards. So I'm going to come forwards now, toe in line with your knee or back a little bit further. Grab your knee and lean forwards on it. So you can hug your knee. So if your ankle is stiff, you can bounce. But then when you have loosened that off a little bit, you want to hold the stretch steady. Don't bounce now. Hold it still for about a minute so you can stretch into those deep calf muscles and try and keep your toes relaxed. Don't let them crunch up. And come back. Okay, we're going to come into a stand. I'm going to come sideways. So from your crouch, you can come from here into a down dog. So have your hands on the floor, straighten your legs and push them back. So you're stretching all down the back of your legs. Okay, now down dog, you need to have your hands forwards and your heels need to be on the floor. Otherwise you're tightening your calves. You're not stretching them out. And we're trying to stretch in this session. If you can't keep your heels down on the ground, you need to put your heels on either a rolled up towel or a yoga block or something along those lines. So here's a yoga block. You could do this, or a book. You could put your heels on a big fat book. So your hands are on the floor, your heels are on there, your toes are on the floor, and you're getting a calf stretch. And then you want to come to elephant. You bring your hands in so that your bum is above your heels, but really you should have your heels on the ground for this. So elephant is here, hips over feet, and come back into a down dog. So you can just do as many of these as you want. If you want to show off, you can lift your leg up in the air and do a three-legged dog. Get a really good stretch in your hamstrings for that one. And put it down, same on the other side. Hold it. Good hamstring stretch. Not many people can manage that, so don't think you have to do it. And then bring your hands back in. Now before you come up, soften your knees and then uncurl. So you're coming up into standing and then stretch up and back. Well done. Okay, so I'm going to come to the front. I'm going to do my favourite stretch. I do this at the end of just about every session, so you should all know it by now. Reaching your arms up, grab your wrist, stretch up and over, pull it over to the side and bend your knees. So you're getting a good stretch all down your side. Stay there and breathe. And then we're doing the same on the other side, so you're reaching up. Swap wrists over to the side and bend your knees. Stay there, breathe in and out. And then reach up to the ceiling. And relax your arms. Deep breath in again. And blow out. Shrug your shoulders. And again. And that's you done. Well done. So that's a much longer routine. Pick what you want out of that. If you've got plenty of time and you're bored, especially like now when you're in a lockdown, it would be very useful to do all of those stretches as a little routine. But just do what you can at the time. And I'll see you again. I'm going to be doing a routine with foam rollers as well at some point. So I shall see you later on. Bye for now. keep healthy, keep fit, keep bendy.